do this real quick. Good morning, everyone. This is Miss Hodges, and I'm coming on to do your video for Friday, May 8th. Today is the end of the week. I'm just going to go ahead and move a little bit lower with your light. And I'm coming on to do your video. Yesterday was a lot like a catch-up day. You had a little strategy to do and to revise in your story. And today is kind of like a mini catch-up day because today's lesson is going to have you revising your same story, story 2, and also maybe even story 1. But it's something that we've talked about all year long. It's something you know very well. And so it's not going to take you a super ton of time mentally. So you'll be able, if you're behind, to work on completing your story and then editing and revising it. And that's been the focus all week long. Yes, on Wednesday, you guys wrote your second trouble story. You wrote a brand new trouble story, and I gave you a lot of ideas on Wednesday to help you, because sometimes the hardest part is picking an idea. So you can always go back to Wednesday's folder if you're still stuck there. Then Thursday, yesterday, I introduced you guys to a strategy called bringing your characters to life, getting your characters to do things, getting your characters to say things. And today, you are going to be continuing to edit. So I want you guys to know that revising is more of like rewriting your ideas and adding ideas and changing ideas. Good morning. Whereas editing is more about your spelling and your punctuation. You're still going to go back through your story, but it's not changing ideas. You're making sure you have punctuation. Today's big focus that I'm going to expect you guys to do in your writing is to look at the end of your sentences. So today, everything is due for the entire week because Monday, you're going to be doing a new story, I believe. So today is focusing on punctuation, something you guys know a lot about. And so it's a little bit tricky to change things around online learning, but I have a word in front of me. And I want you to pretend like you're in the classroom, visualize that scene where we're all close together, we're all doing our learning. And I do that thing where I'm like, partner 1, partner 2, partner 1, partner 2, partner 1, partner 1, partner 1, partner 1. And you guys mess up raising your hands and we laugh a little bit. And I want you to kind of talk out loud to yourself and pretend that you're with your partner. So this is something that you want to do out loud, or this is something you definitely want to hear yourself talking to yourself about. And so I want you to pretend that in that classroom and we're all sat together in that library area, and you and your partner are going to be doing a script, like a movie. So you're going to have a line to say and your partner's going to have a line to say. But this is the line for you. Everyone has the same line. And it's this word right here. So I'm going to hold this right here. This is your line. This is the only word you're going to say, and you're going to say it about 3 different times. Okay? So I'm going to set the scene for you right here as an actor or actress. And I want you to do this in your head or out loud, and hopefully you're going to giggle a little bit. Okay, so partner 1, that's you. I want you to pretend you're casually walking down the road, and then all of a sudden you see your long lost friend, your partner. So imagine like your friend next to you. You're just kind of going down the street and you look and you see your long lost friend, and you're so excited. You're so excited. You say to your friend, what does that sound like? Right? I'm walking down the street. I'm like casually walking, and I look and I see Miss Stewart, my partner, my long lost friend. I'm so excited. Dude. Okay. So that would be how I say it. Is that kind of how you said it? All right. That was your first scene as an actor. Okay. So then when I say that, okay, ready? You notice something about your partner, your long lost friend. Maybe it's their haircut, maybe it's the words on their shirt. You see something in your partner and you're annoyed and disgusted. And so you let them know how you feel and you say, how would that sound? So I just saw Miss Stewart, dude. But when Miss Stewart looks at me, Miss Stewart sees this crazy mess. Miss Stewart sees me, I'm like sloppy, my hair's weird, teeth aren't brushed yet, and she's disgusted. And Miss Stewart looks at me and she goes, Okay. And so then at that point, back to me, my turn. I'm starting to walk away and, I'm not going to let you talk to me like that. And then my partner, Miss Stewart, she's pleading with me. She wants to know, are you really going to leave this friendship? Are you really going to leave me? And the whole time she's saying, hmm. So how does that sound? Miss Stewart's begging me not to leave her. Begging me not to leave her, huh? Yeah, who would have thought? And she's saying this over and over again. How would that sound? Go ahead. Make sure you're doing that. Beg your partner not to leave your friendship. But then I'm going to shake my head. No, Miss Stewart, I'm going to start to walk away. I'm going to reach in my pocket. And then I found I've won $1 million in my pocket. And I called Miss Stewart back. And I say, okay. So that was a little bit crazy, right? There's a whole bunch of different scenes, lots of different emotions. I'm not seeing you in forever. I'm disgusted by you. I'm leaving you. And the whole time you were saying the same word to yourself, dude. So it was the goal of that was that you took that one word and you said it in so many different ways. And that is the exact same thing that I want you to think about in your writing. You trying to make your audience feel so many different things using maybe the same word. And so how can we create that feeling? How can we use the same words and get different emotions? Shock, disgust, and leaving a friendship. And so the way we're going to be doing that is with punctuation. And so we're going to I'm not going to be teaching you. You're going to be doing a little assignment exploring punctuation. Punctuation is something you guys have done for a while, so you have a lot of background knowledge. But I want you to continue thinking about new ideas you have about punctuation today. Okay, you guys know what a period is, I'm pretty sure. But today is all about these 3 questions. Why is an author using it? How are you supposed to be reading it? And let me get my other one. What do you notice about it? Okay, so on the Google Drive, this is called an inquiry. An inquiry is asking a question. This is your page, one of your page setups. You guys know that there's different types of punctuation. And what I've done is I actually found that punctuation and how it was used in a book we've all read, Amina's Voice. And so I'm going to read you and remind you of some parts in Amina's Voice. And your job is to think about, why is the author using that punctuation? That's your job. Why is the author using that punctuation? Okay? So on the Google Drive, and I'll hold my paper so you can follow along, or you can always pause the video and come back. If you want to set this up and then come back, you can leave and come back. Okay. One of the types of punctuation we know about is a period, okay? But it's not that the period, we want to say, okay, why is the author using that period? And so I chose a scene in Amina's Voice where she's talking with her friend Sujin. And you remember when Amina was really nervous about her solo and she didn't really want it, and Sujin was kind of pushing her to do it? This is that scene where Sujin's talking to Amina, and Sujin says, come on, Amina, just try it. And so right there, why is the author using those periods? Okay. And so what I can think is, okay, why is the author using the periods? Well, to separate those 2 ideas. And also it says, come on, Amina, just try it. There's kind of like a little message there. The author's using periods to get the friend to say a couple things, but the author wants me to stop, and the author wants me to definitely have a few things, but I have to stop my voice. Come on, Amina, just try it. Okay. So what do I notice about these periods? I notice that the sentences are short also. So the author wants to have 2 sentences. That's what I'm noticing. Why does the author use it? Why is the author using a period? Come on, Amina, just try it. The author wants to say 2 things. The author wants me to stop talking and take a breath. The author wants me to pause. Yeah, the author doesn't want me to go, come on, Amina, just try it. The author wants me to pause. Come on, Amina, just try it. That's really important. And also, Sujin's making a statement. There's a little bit of meaning there. Come on, Amina, just try it. How does the author want me to read that? The author doesn't really want me to read it angrily. The author just wants me to make a statement. Come on, Amina, just try it. That's not really like a positive or negative. It's just kind of a statement. So I took those 3 questions, and then I'm going to jot my ideas in the box right there. So that's going to be one of your assignments today, is to look at this from a real book. Okay, and why is the author using the period there? And I ask myself, okay, what do I notice? Why does the author use it? How am I reading it? That question helps. How am I reading it? Okay. All right. I'm going to go to the second one. And the second type of punctuation you guys know is a question mark. So in this scene from Amina's voice, Amina is talking to Sujin, and she says, so that means you're not even American. Oh, no, it wasn't Amina that said that. It was the friend. Oh, what was that girl's name? You know, the girl from the beginning of the book they had a lot of conflict with? And she's like, I can't believe you're friends. Emily. Yeah, Emily, right? I can't believe you're friends with Emily. Don't you remember what she did to us? Right? So Emily says, so that means you're not even American? So that sounds a lot different than that one. That was that scene where Emily wanted to say, so that means you're not even American? Okay. So you're going to fill in this box, and I'm going to go ahead and read you those same things to think about. Okay, what do you notice about that punctuation? Why is the author using this question mark? Okay, how does the author want you to read it? That's probably the best question. How does the author want you to read this? The author doesn't want you to just read it and move on. I think there's meaning right there. So that means you're not even American? How are you supposed to be reading that? And something else is, what happens if I change that? If I change that to an exclamation mark, it would say, so that means you're not even American? American? That's a really different sound. So why are we using this question mark? Yep, and this is something that you guys will remember from years before. Belinda's got it. Okay, authors are using question marks to ask a question. And then how are you supposed to read a question mark as well? Remember that question. How does the author want you to read that? I'm going to put, yep, Belinda's got it. Yep, Harmony's got it. Well, asking a question, what does that sound like? Try to describe it. You guys are right. Use a question mark to ask a question. But as a reader, how are you supposed to ask a question? Like, what does your voice sound like? How are you supposed to read it? Readers need to read it how? Like, with what feeling? Yeah, so you guys have got it so far. Yeah, we use a question mark to ask a question, but readers need to read it with what kind of emotion? You got it. You got exactly what my script said students will come up with. That's impressive. Curiosity. Yeah, that's how we're supposed to read it. Curiosity. So we thought about, why is the author using this? But how are we supposed to read it? If we're supposed to read it with curiosity, well, then it needs a question mark. And that's what Emily did in that scene. So that means you're not even American? Almost like, you could almost say read it with some kind of, in this scene, it's like a shock, curious. Nice. So you would fill in your chart. Okay? Yep, so you guys would just jot that down in your chart. Okay? All right. I'll give you a couple seconds to do that if you want. I'll hold it up. Actually, do I want to hold it up again? You guys wrote it in the comments. I just wrote down exactly what Belinda and Harmony said. It's, what's the punctuation? What's an example of it in a real book? Okay, what is it for? How are we supposed to read it? Okay, and so the next example you guys are familiar with, an exclamation mark right here, an exclamation mark. So why do authors use them? How do readers read them? And this was a piece I stole from Amina's voice. And it was one of the chapters when Baba and Mustafa are watching the football game on TV. You guys remember that scene? and her dad, Baba, is watching the Packers, and he's really annoyed because they're playing really badly. And so he says, "Get your eyes checked." He says, "Get your eyes checked." Okay. So why does the author use that punctuation? Because if it was a question mark, he would have said, "Get your eyes checked," and that's a different meaning. So why does the author do that? Get your eyes checked. Why does the author use it? And jot down in your box, why does the author use that exclamation mark? What is it showing? Get your eyes checked. What does that show? Shows what? Get your eyes checked. Shouting? When we say statement, a statement is usually when we say something without emotion. But when they use the exclamation mark, do you think there was emotion in that? Get your eyes checked. And think about that scene in Amina's voice. He's really unhappy with his team, and he's actually yelling at the TV. So a statement is when you say something and there's not really a lot of emotion to it. And in this case, an exclamation mark is being used to show something. And Belinda's kind of got it. It's in this scene, it's like he's shouting. It's almost rude. You could jot that down. And then here's the other piece is when you're a reader, what feeling do you read it with? Readers read it with, what kind of feeling do you read that with? You can jot that down. What do readers read that with? What kind of emotion? And jot that down in yours, right? Or just think about it, talk out loud to yourself. Exclamation marks, why do authors use them? How are readers supposed to read them? I can't just read it, get your eyes checked. How do readers read it? What kind of emotions do we read exclamation marks with? All right. You can always pause the video. You can always restart it. You can always come back. But this is a last one that you guys have seen, but you may not know the name of. And I can guarantee that when you go to middle school, you'll see this. And if you can tell your teacher what it is and why authors use it, they'll be very impressed. The dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot, dot has a funny name. It's called an ellipsis. And you guys, some of you guys use this in your own writing. So this is going to be really interesting to see if you use it, do you really know why you use it? So an ellipsis is a dot, dot, dot. And I found it in Amina's voice. And it was the scene where Amina is talking to Sujin about her name change. And so when Amina talks to Sujin about her name change, we know she's uncomfortable with her changing her name or talking about changing her name. And so Amina says to Sujin, but then why don't you just stay Sujin? And it's focusing on that dot, dot, dot. She goes, but then why don't you just stay Sujin? But then why did the author use the dot, dot, dot there? But then what is that showing? When the author uses dot, dot, dot in that scene, Amina says, but then why don't you just stay Sujin? What does that dot, dot, dot do? What is that showing you? But then what does that show your character doing? Okay, jot that down. Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe it shows that there's more she's going to say. Okay. And then how are you supposed to read it? How are you supposed to read it? Good. Belinda, what you said is kind of like a pause, like it's showing uncertainty, maybe? Is that what you're describing, Belinda? The dot, 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 why is the author using it? Because it's like she wants to say something, but she doesn't know how. She's uncertain about herself. Okay. And when you're uncertain about something, maybe it's showing the character thinking. Jot that down, Belinda. That's awesome. The dot, dot, dot is showing that the character has more to say, like Harmony just typed. Awesome. Or the dot, 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 the ellipsis. It can show a character thinking, maybe uncertain. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then as a reader, how are you supposed to read it? Remember, how does the author want you to read it? Readers read an ellipsis by what do you do when you see an ellipsis, a dot, dot, dot? What does the author want you to do as a reader? And I'll hold it here so you can read it to yourself. As a reader, go ahead and read it out loud if you need to. Listen to yourself. Why does the author use it? They've got that. But how are you supposed to read it? Readers read it by what are you doing when you read the dot, dot, dot? What do you do as a reader when you read it? But then why don't you just stay Sujin? What did I do as a reader? All right. Readers read it by pausing. Okay. And is that what you and I did when we read it? Did I, as a reader, pause? When you read that, are you, as a reader, pausing? Yeah. You pause as a reader, but your character thinks. So you got it, Belinda. The ellipsis is helping my character think, but it's helping me, as a reader, pause. So punctuation has kind of like two jobs, actually, is what we're noticing. Punctuation can be used to show a character doing something, and punctuation also has a purpose for the reader to read it a certain way. Yeah, there you go, Harmony. That's like what Belinda said, like uncertain, like unsure. Awesome. So that was kind of what I wanted you guys to think about and what you're jotting down. And let's go back to that period example, because that was probably the trickiest one to start with. So what we're doing is when we talk about punctuation, it's looking at it two ways. What is it doing in the story? And then as a reader, how do you read it? So when I get to a period, what is a period doing in the story? Come on, Amina, just try it. Okay. That's helping my characters make statements. But as a reader, what do I do when I see a period? I'll jot that down. Punctuation has two kind of roles. It shows something happening in the story, but then the readers read it by doing what? There we go. That's better. So when you have a period in a story, what is that showing the characters doing? What is it showing? Or what's its purpose? And then right here is our question. How are you supposed to read it? Readers read it by doing what? Okay. And so, there's a comment. The period is when you stop for a while, then you go. So as a reader, what is the point of a period? To stop you. Exactly. Readers read it by stopping. But in a story, what does a period show? It's not showing strong emotion. That's an extra dude. It's not what a period does. Dude. That's just helping me say a statement. You hear the difference? A question mark. Dude. Dude. That's it. Dude. I'm asking a question. But when it's an exclamation mark, dude, what is that showing? Strong emotion. So periods, what do readers do? It gets me to stop, my voice. Okay? So you guys are going to fill in that chart. And there's no right, wrong answers. It's not your paper has to match mine perfectly. I just want to make sure you guys understand that when you choose punctuation as a writer, as you wrote a story, are you choosing different kinds based on how you want your story to go? So many of you use periods all the time. That's for readers to pause, to stop, and to make statements. But in your trouble stories, weren't there moments where you wanted to ask a question and you wanted your reader to read it with curiosity? I know in my trouble story, there's moments where my characters are asking questions. In your trouble story, weren't there moments where your characters had powerful emotions and you wanted your reader to read it with that emotion and intensity? And in your trouble stories, weren't there moments where you wanted to pause because your character might have been thinking? And also, didn't you want your reader to stop and to stretch out? So that's why you're doing punctuation and you're thinking about it more deeply than you probably ever thought about it, is because your actual assignment today is to take these ideas about punctuation and to edit your writing and your story. Because when you look through your story, and you could do that right now, you could take out your second story, look at the different types of punctuation you have. Do you have lots of different types of punctuation? Or are you using the same types over and over again? Are you missing any specific types of punctuation? Because if I know an ellipsis is to help my character pause and think, then I need to go find a place in my story where my character is pausing and thinking, and I need to use an ellipsis, a dot, dot, dot. So that's what you guys are going to be doing, is you're going to take time to think about punctuation. You're going to take time to think about why authors use it. But let's not just talk about how this author uses it. Let's make sure that you guys are also authors. You're going to go back through your story and you are going to be looking at your punctuation. You're going to be saying, maybe my character was actually really intense. I don't want a period. I want an exclamation mark. And I want you guys to make changes to your story based on punctuation. A lot of you guys are going to want to look at spelling as you go, and you can do that work. But I'm really focused on your punctuation. Is there a lot of different types? Is there a variety to end your sentences? And this work has to be done first so that you can look for different types of things in your story, right? A question mark has a different mood than an exclamation mark. And so that's what you guys are going to be doing. You're going to be going through your story and you're going to be adding different types of punctuation. Again, you might notice some spelling to correct and to fix and change, which is great. But one thing I'm going to add, and this is on Google Drive, is so many of you are going to be looking at your punctuation today, and you might realize that you're not using punctuation. That means you have a sentence that runs on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So I think a lot of you are going to be going back and changing your punctuation, but I think there's a lot of work in our classes that need to be done about taking these huge sentences and making sure we actually use punctuation. We have all these different choices, but we have to use something. So on Google Drive, this is a really important chart for you guys. Guys, you need to take this to middle school and high school and college and forever. And this is still something that I do when I write and send emails, is looking for those sentences that just keep going. This is a great little checklist to help you take those long sentences and to help guide you using punctuation. No more sentences with 5 ands. One and in one sentence. And you're focused on using lots of different types of punctuation. So take what you learned from dude, the different emotions you felt saying dude, that taught you how to use different punctuation. Dude, 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 dude. Take that learning you did about punctuation and how it shows emotions, fill out your chart with your ideas, and then you're going to be going back to your story and you're going to be saying to yourself, how can I vary or how can I use different types of punctuation at the end of my sentences? A lot of you are going to find out, uh-oh, I've been writing sentences that go on and on and on and on. And this is your chart to help you. Okay? All right, that was a little bit longer because I wanted to make sure I gave you some support here because that might be tricky for people. But if you guys have any questions about the assignments, feel free to type that in now. I'll stick around for 2 more minutes and answer questions. I did run late because I had a staff meeting today. But everything I showed you in this video is on Google Drive. Everything to help you is on Google Drive. And I even set up a paper today with instructions to help you get everything done that you need. Oh yeah, there's your instructions right there. So you guys know that you have to fill out that little punctuation chart we were just doing in the video. You're going to be editing your writing and punctuation. And this is what you need to do when you send me photos. You guys are going to be using all these new types and old types of punctuation in your writing. You're going to be looking for those sentences that go on and on forever. But when you guys make edits in your writing today, you're going to use a highlighter or a colored pencil or a colored marker. And I want you to actually do those little changes in a color. So when you send me a photo, I can quickly see how many edits that you made. Okay? So today you're going to edit. You can still use a pencil, but I want you to go over it or use a highlighter or a marker or a colored pencil. Because when you send me those photos, what I'm saying is, how has this student edited their punctuation? How has this student edited the end of their sentences? That's what I'm looking for in your writing. Okay? So pull up Google Drive, use everything on Google Drive, rewatch parts of the video if you need to. Make sure you talk to yourself when you watch the beginning of this video, and make sure you talk to yourself when you're filling out this chart. Use everything you've learned to help you with that. Okay, so that's going to be it. I'm going to end the video in a moment. I don't have any questions. There are 2 people that have been typing and participating as we've gone along. So I'm going to have you guys get an automatic green for participation, Belinda and Harmony, because you guys were talking and giving your ideas as we were on the go. So Belinda and Harmony, you can still comment on this video, but you guys are pretty much good. Can we add more sentences to use punctuation? That's a fantastic question. Yes, because whenever you go back and you look at your old story, you guys should constantly be revising and editing. So that's a great question, Harmony. As you go through, you might say, I actually want to change this scene a little bit. I want to rewrite certain parts to get my punctuation. Or Harmony, yeah, I'm going to go add a little part of characters saying so I can use that ... that ellipsis. Yes, Harmony, that's what good writers do. Absolutely. But don't just add sentences, Harmony. Sometimes you have to rewrite. So make sure you don't just tack on things to the bottom. Make sure you go inside your page too. Okay, Harmony? That's a really good point. If you guys just add things to the bottom, that's not always editing. Editing is looking at what you have, but if you want to add more, awesome. Okay, Belinda's question. The touch and the tell, awesome. There is a playlist on this YouTube channel, and the playlist is called Hodges Help Videos. So Belinda, go to the other playlist of mine called Help Videos and click the video that says Touch and Tell. In that video, Belinda, I actually touched every single page and told you how I planned my story too. So if touch and tell is a tricky strategy for you, go watch that part. Go watch that video in the other playlist. Yes, Jaden, if it doesn't say video 1, this is the only video for today, but you might find that, like Belinda, I've suggested she go back to a help playlist and she watch an old video. Yep, no worries. Okay, So if that's it, I'm going to go ahead and go. If you have any other questions, pop up, text me. But today is Friday. All your work is due. On Class Dojo, I said to your adult that if you need extra time, then you have to communicate with me, or your adult has to communicate with me, and we have to make an agreement. We have to come to an agreement about how your work will be done. So work very hard. You can get it all done today. Today's big focus is editing at the end of your sentences. And if you need more time, then we need to have a conversation and make a plan. But otherwise, that's it. Quite a long video. Make sure you pause it, make sure you chunk it, make sure you take breaks. Go get a colored pen, go set up your paper. Always, always look at Google Drive. And if I don't talk to you, have a great weekend. Bye.